Oh, excuse me while I clear my throat. I'm about to do a podcast. It is known as MBTV News. Welcome, everybody. That wasn't, that actually happened, so what the hell? Croaky, croaky,
Croak,
croaky.
croak.
Autumn has arrived and self is not well. But I'm well enough to do this show and all the rest of the stuff. I mean, just, that seasonal thing of seasonal affection disorder, is it, or something? Or
Oh yeah,
disaffection?
seasonal affective. Yep.
Dis, dissociative. I don't
Sad.
know what it
It's sad, Mal. It's just sad.
It's just sad, 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 isn't it? Albert reminds me of another song, but never mind. Cough, cough, cough. Sorry. The music will come later. Anyway, my name is Mal Burns. I'm joined on the news desk here by none other than James Atloud. Welcome, James.
Oh, thank you, Mal. It's as always great to be here. Oh, I should turn on my lips. Chop, chop, chop. There we go. It's good to
Indeed.
be here. Yep.
Too busy fiddling with knobs to turn on his lips. Really,
Yeah,
really, really.
yeah.
Yeah. The knobs in question are, of course, audio and video switching. So that's he's a bit quieter than me. That's the reason he's concentrating on all that other stuff, isn't he?
Yep.
Right. So this show is about virtual worlds and immersive spaces online. So a little bit about the haptic stuff that goes with it. I personally generally still clear of Helmet Land unless it's major news, but James is a kind of fan of at least one version of the
Oh,
Helmet
I
Land.
like many of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm particularly averse to one in particular,
I
but,
can't
um,
imagine.
but James is not, you see, so he can tell you about that. Anyway, on to the show. We got a mixture of video, links, and stuff like that to sort of show you. I will start moving across to our where should we start? Where should we start? I'm gonna go to some of the web posts first. Anyway, um, uh, I'm no longer and nobody is any longer on Twitter because it's now everybody has to exit, don't they? But as in Twitter exit. No, no. It's I have three accounts there. Mal Burns on Twitter, MALBURNS or one word, and Metaworld News or one word, are both still on Twitter. Another account for Second Life, just for your interest, Malburns underscore writer, is no longer there. For some reason, that particular avatar has upset the musketeer,
Hmm.
and I've been, what's the word, spiked by his saber, his musket indeed.
Put
Yes,
out of existence.
yes, exactly. And there's no way he's coming back, but you can find all of me on Mastodon in one form or another. Um, More on that later, but MetaWorld at Mastodon Social basically is the main feed with all the links you're going to see now. They're on Twitter too, and in fact, the feeds contain much more than what I'm covering here. We've only got an hour at most. So, we will start where we always start, and it's an excuse for one of those wonderful things called a sound effect. Well, two sound
Two
effects
sound
there.
effects. Yeah.
I got a feeling that the motorcycle scared the ghost,
Could
but
be.
could be, could be. Okay, this is a site called the scarredghost.com, SKARREDGHOST. I can do that at motormousespeed.com. In fact, Scarred Ghost is Anthony Vitillo over in Italy, and this is his weekly roundup, the XR Week Peak. And Unity's community is rioting, Pico 5 has leaked, etc. Most of the stuff we would have covered last week if it was in our brief. He does actually cover various other things, but Unity, as you know if you listened to us last week, was the big news of the week. And yes, leaks of a controller. Gosh golly. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Newsworthy of mentioning. Okay, another professional headset. I forget whether we featured that at all. Something called Quest is updated. Hang on. Yeah. Oh yes. Well, one of the Quest things, Horizon Worlds now have legs, but they can't. Nobody can use them, basically. And yeah, there was something else on that one. Oh yes, this Quest update brings some improvements and some headaches. I suppose that's to be expected. For every improvement, you get a worse headache, don't you? Right. Rest in peace, Bongo.
Bogo was a game on early Oculus Rift.
Oh yes, I do
It was
gather the
very
Oculus.
popular. Yeah.
Yeah, I gather a lot of games and things have been disappearing from the Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
It's things Dead and Buried, Dead and Buried 2. Um, uh, the Yeah, I'm waiting for them to get rid of that game called the Where in the World is the Zuckerberger? But I think that's still running. Right, REP Wikitude. Oh yeah, this is a bit bad. Wikitude, our sun setting. Um, it's also a lot of the wikis and things are in trouble. The same forces that are now trying to monopolize everything online and trying to shut down the web archives. You know, the World Wide Web archive and stuff. Are obviously after wiki sites and things too. Um, I know a lot of wikis do include false information, as the web always has done. But even so, I mean, this isn't a matter of censorship. This is a matter of killing the opposition. You know, news sites want to kill off every news site, except their own kind of thing, especially if they're owned by a big company. Big news of the week, actually, which I haven't featured here, of course, is that Rupert Murdoch has actually stood down, and his son, who's been running the thing like Fox News and Sky for a long while now, is taking it continues, but having stepped down, it may actually change to his other son if there could be a challenge in the family, so to speak, including the one of the sons apparently wants to do the exact opposite from what his father did and move from the right wing to the left. So who knows what will happen to our media in the future? Certainly, where it's got the Murdoch name, it's an interesting future any way
Mm-hmm.
you look at it. Okay, well, I'm not going to dwell on that, but if you want to check out that news from last week, well, the week before last, in real terms, if you see what I mean, then do check out scarghost.com on that one. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, actually, that today is the 24th of September, and the year, surprisingly enough, is 2023. But if you're playing this back in 100 years' time in the wonderful YouTube archive, that will probably cost you a fortune by then I thought I'd better mention the year just in case
All right.
you're in the future. Yes. Or in the past for that matter. No, you can't go back in time and, well, maybe you can one day. Maybe you'll better take the video and travel back in time and watch it when you get back in time. Who knows? I digress. I seriously digress, don't I? Okay, so skullghost.com for that roundup. Next thing I have is AR Insider, ARINSIDER.co. That's just a CO. This is Charlie Fink's roundup from the beginning of the week. Spatial beats, basically, which is his regular column at AR Insider there at the beginning of the week. Again, like Tony Patillo, it's it's a roundup of the week. Not the same stuff, of course, because Charlie Fink gets involved in U.S. Senate's AI insight forums and stuff like that. He covers the more, how should I say, uh, not just commerce, but the real business players there, even though some of them arguably aren't players. But U.S. Army contract lives to fight another day. Well, yeah, Microsoft that is, and yeah, what have we? Um, okay, and an advert for his own podcast, which should be coming up in a bit. So you find that at arinsider.co. I'm moving on down to my next one, which is readwriteweb.com. Actually, I'm sorry, it's no longer called readwriteweb. It's just simply readwrite.com. READWRITE.com. And they were looking at the fall of Web3 and the rise of the 3D internet. Come again?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what that means. I mean, Web3 to a great extent has meant interactive spaces online. XR is often called too. And if that's not the 3D internet, I'm not really quite sure what is. Both are, web is on the World Wide Web. 3D internet is arguably sites that aren't on the web but are on the greater internet. That's the only difference I can think of. But that difference is not something reflected in this article. Um, Go for it. It's a read. It's a read. I can't say it's a major important read, but it is a read and it's an interesting perspective on things. So you'll find that at readwrite.com. And XR Today, another of our regular sites here, xrtoday.com. And they also have a early in the week roundup. They're getting a trend series out of the bag, and debuting Global Industry has the opportunity to check out a ton of fascinating insights from the immersive world. Starting off with a sneak peek of some of the things discussed for the blockbuster series. The metaverse is not dead. Well, who said it was? Oh, it must be that Zuckerberg bloke again. Right. Oh no, he's peddling it, isn't it? Oh, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, such is the nonsense of the worldwide wobble these days. Okay, 3 paragraphs of XR stuff, really. They're really just this. It's an interesting post, but it's a roundup. They really are promoting the series rather than any particular thing on this post. But they are telling you who's coming up and discussions that are going to be happening, etc., etc. And a link where you can actually go to watch the XR Trends series itself as and when it debuts. Actually, there may be something on that link already, but I'm not going to try it out live on there. So there. Right, moving on down the list. XR Today again, actually, xrtoday.com. Some company called Sanofi, Sanofi, have completed a HoloLens 2 pilot project. HoloLens, of course, is the Microsoft product, and it's sort of a bit different from regular VR because, of course, the idea is it will support things like holograms in their own right. Anyway, this is a Paris-based client, and they're leveraging HoloLens too. Sorry, I'm tripping over my tongue today. And yeah, really, it's just it's a PR in a way, but it was actually a pilot project. So the news really is that it's worked as the pilot has worked kind of thing. So they'll be doing more. I think you can safely say that this is enterprise level news, so I'm not going to dwell on it. But Microsoft is going to scale its industrial. I love this phrase, industrial metaverse. Everybody can't get to grips with the metaverse anymore, so they're adding prefixes. The the archaeological metaverse, the industrial metaverse, the shitty metaverse. That's the one in the sewage industry. Sorry, moving on. That's the XR Today is a little bit of a roundup there. So I'm quickly going to switch over to a couple of offline videos I've got today, just to break up the monotony of web pages, basically. And one is PR for M7 Innovation Brief. This is episode 238. I'm going to run it. If you give me some feedback, it's only a couple of minutes, but I don't know how often it's coming out. This one is about 2.5, but I wonder if it is worth getting stuff from here to show you, or whether it's but it's mainstream, not particularly. It's not just VR and XR, but you'll see.
Hello and welcome to the M7 Innovation Brief. I'm your host, Mal Burns. You know the deal. Media tech innovation, 90 seconds. Let's do it. TikTok is on the charts. The company recently announced that it partnered with Billboard to present the TikTok Top 50 Songs. It's no secret that TikTok has music in its blood. The app itself evolved from ByteDance's Musical.ly, but there's an inherent tension here, and AI is the elephant in the room. Remember the AI song with Drake and The Weeknd that blew up on TikTok? Both parties declined to make a statement on that song. Now that there's an official music channel and Billboard partnership with TikTok, will the platform take a more solid stance on synthetic media, specifically AI-generated music? Xbox is going to the bank. Microsoft and MasterCard have teamed up to make the Xbox MasterCard, which has a variety of benefits. The mechanics are familiar. Earn points. Every 1,500 points can be redeemed for a $15 Xbox gift card. Earn 5 points for every dollar you spend in the Microsoft Store. The bigger picture, this is a smart ecosystem play. Microsoft's work suite of apps are used by 1 billion people every day. We're all kind of in that ecosystem. If you're a gamer, the Xbox perks and point multipliers for things you'd already be spending money on, games, streaming services, food like Grubhub, it makes sense to switch, which means Microsoft will get even more data and insights, specifically spending data, to help fuel this ecosystem and keep you locked in.
Of course.
Netflix is dropping into its future. The streaming service announced a new live stream series called Drop 01. The series will show early screenings of several animated projects like Sonic Prime and Castlevania Nocturne. They're not reinventing the wheel here. Even with linear TV in decline, appointment viewing, tentpole events, they still resonate with us humans. So creating a moment where content drops can create social buzz, awareness for the shows, and drive more subscribers. The fact that these series are based off gaming IP is no accident. Netflix, amidst a writer and actor strike, are trying to find these niche spaces to keep us entertained and keep themselves relevant. Well,
right. And he says that's all the time we have time for. So there's about 30 seconds extra coming up, which we don't need. Your thoughts, if you want to send them to me, MetaWorld News at Proton Me, sorry, is an email address you can use for elaborate thoughts. Obviously, is covering their stuff that is tangentially, at least, relevant to our brief anyway. Immersive spaces, people are talking about using, the, I was about to say XR, the AI, God, these names, to actually generate stuff in virtual worlds and stuff. So everything, as technology progresses, our interfacing, particularly with immersive 3D things online, is, progressing with it. And also, of course, I should mention that talking of progress, I haven't had a video on this. There's been a few obscure, how should I say, blogs on this. But Second Life, the sort of original metaverse-y sort of platform, really, which is 20 years old now. More, in fact, if you include predecessor, Linden World. They're actually beginning to use GLFT, which is a format used particularly in the open metaverse. It hasn't come to OpenSim yet, as far as I know, but Firestorm, one of the popular viewers for Second Life, has an off-center client. In other words, it's like a beta where you can actually examine things like reflections and stuff on meshes and stuff in Second Life in a more modern way, where it actually looks like the whole thing is sorted in something like, dare I say, Unity. Basically, I don't know how the conversion is made, but apparently, certain objects with reflections on them have even more realistic reflections on them now. So that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see if that moves to OpenSim, which is Second Life's sort of open source cousin, and also does illuminated mesh stand any real chance against some of the stuff that Unity, of course, occupies. But there again, Unity have actually. Actually, I don't think I've got a link for this, but actually, Unity have actually backed down a little bit on the news from last week.
That's right.
Okay, while I'm on there. Oh, sorry, James, were you about to say something there?
No, I just agreed. Unity has backed down. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an advert for VirtualCon this year. There we go. No, November 3rd to the 5th there. Interesting, actually. That's in that would be based in a world called Issaverse, which has been around for a long
Oh yeah.
while.
Okay.
It was much more of a sort of, that's on the par, much smaller than Second Life. Very similar look and feel, but it was always a matter of going into closed off rooms, and most of them you had to pay to get into because there was sex going on in them. They had they had a definite brief basically. The same thing probably happened in Second Life amongst a million of other things, whereas Lucifer's did seem to catch on to that. I've been to several of these before, but they were well before COVID, and I don't actually know when their last one was, but clearly they're preparing for this one. Interestingly, in Open Sim, there's the a sort of fun musical artsy sort of fest going on at the moment called the OS Fest. Coming up in October, there's the Hypergrid International Expo, which is happening on CraftGrid in OpenSim. And so it's well nice to have something for November, which of course will proceed coming up the next month in December, the OpenSim Community Convention. So it's definitely convention conference sort of time of the year. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to put away what we've just been looking at, and I'm going to move back to the rest of the links here. And rotovr.com. Right. Very nifty this. Immersed, company called Immersed, this is, have opened pre-orders for a slim and light visor, a VR headset which will start at only around £500. Now, I'm quite excited about this. It depends on how much they call a visor and how much it's glasses, if you see what I mean. But slim and light, and well, they say headset, so that puts me off. But we'll see when we see. But it could be quite good if you can sell something like with 4K per eye at $750, and oh yes, 2.5K per eye per eye at $500. Oh, tongue twisters galore here. Yeah, different micro displays, etc., etc. There'll be another edition, 1,000, for example. But these are good prices for what sounds to be quite good.
They're unbelievable prices, frankly.
You think?
Yeah.
Depending on what.
They don't seem in the realm of practicality right now, but that's
I
all,
see.
it's all speculation, right?
Yeah, you think it's they're too cheap really for what they're offering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick, so that's what you get. Yeah. The form factor though, they are. To me, those are pretty close to glasses. In fact, they are big glasses. I mean, I would wear those. Put it that way. As James is saying, the quality remains to be seen. But I suppose if you're going to pay for the £1,000 for them, then you're paying a reasonable amount for what is hopefully, you've got three quality levels there already: 500, 750, and $1,000. So the hardware is said to be both wireless and wired, and indicating it has onboard processing for mobile VR and a battery, etc. But no more comment at the moment. Additional Horizon Worlds, which is part of the Zuckerberg empire, I believe, is going to launch on Apple iOS in the coming weeks, and you can actually see a beta version of it on the web and on Android. That, of course, means that it will be a screen-based virtual experience. It obviously isn't a helmet world, not if you're running it on iOS. Apple Vision Plus or whatever it's called, maybe, but that's on the horizon yet. Okay, more about shipping there, and you can find out more at the Immersed Visor website, which of course is for that thing there. Moving on down the track, so to speak, and to the next one. RealWear's Navigator 520, an AR headset I really want. This is ARinsider.co, ARINSIDER.co, and it's a rugged thing. It's a rugged AR headset, exactly. They don't make them unrugged enough anymore, you see, so it's rugged. No, never mind. I got stuck on a thingy. Oh, okay, it's agreed to close. And it's forced the website on me. I don't know why this has happened, but the other AR Insider sites don't do this, but never mind. Anyway, the review says they saw this real world realware in action at a conference in Nashville, and whoever wrote about it is obviously hooked on it. Who is it? Emily Ullman is XR community builder and editor at large with AR Insider. So she's obviously popped in for that one. Let's have a look if it works. I think it probably will. Oh, I'm not going to play 6:45.
I haven't heard of like half these companies. I feel like, did I miss something?
A lot of new companies this year, I think.
What do you think it is? You think it's like, what's the new trend? I mean, I see these guys are spatial audio, persistent ecosystems, high fidelity avatars. Are we talking virtual beings? What are we talking about as like the trend?
The different headsets.
All right, let's go check it out.
Okay, sorry about that. My system moved to another screen entirely halfway through that. And, well, as I say, you'll find this on that blog anyway at arinsider.co. And Real World Navigator. It does look interesting. Okay, now, talking of big companies, this one here you might just have heard of. It's called Amazon. Don't need to pronounce do that, do I? This site actually is called Vogue Business, VOGUEBUSINESS.com, and I have no idea. Okay, I don't know why that needed toggling. Okay, so this could also, well, James mentioned that other thing being, so believable at the moment. Amazon, Alexa powered smart glasses. Now, I was reading and thinking this could be interesting. I mean, although so many things are being discontinued from the Alexa world, I wonder whether these are going to be, take off. But these, of course, have now been promoted as fashion accessories. I actually just ordered some new spectacles for myself, reading and general ones, and I know the frames are a bit different, but I get it's just functional, sort of. I don't know what frames would count as stylish. I suppose it depends where you buy them and what the salesman tells you. But this obviously is geared towards fashion. But the thing that's bothering me is that the cost of running these things, not buying them, but running them, all Alexa function. Oh, it's going to stop.
You're going to trigger it. I'm just waiting for it.
It doesn't know what I'm going to say. It'll probably tell me to understand, but never mind.
Right.
All these things require being online. In other words, it takes my command, it goes up to Amazon servers, gets interpreted, and the reply is sent back down to my Amazon speaker. Right? It's the same with the the sound and the earpads that come with the glasses. This means that you're gonna have to be online, data sharing, all the while you're wearing these darn things. Otherwise, the Madame A facility is going to be worthless, because unless you're permanently online, you can't communicate with the that woman called A. Maybe there's a way around that, but it's actually the same with the G display and stuff like that. Quite frankly, all these things that claim to be smart, they're not processing anything offline. They're just screens that take you online to process and then send a reply back to you. Now these days, it's very quick. Even on non-broadband Wi-Fi, it can, it's reasonably quick. But these things have come along because of where the technology has taken us. But what we need, in my opinion, is a smart home controller and everything else that works offline. I mean, it's a Wi-Fi signal that I tell Madame A to put my coffee table light on, yeah? And it will send the signal either to the bulb or to the plug and put that light on, right? and it goes over Wi-Fi. There's no actual real reason that it should go up to Amazon to check it and then come down again to put the light on. Some things, obviously, it wants to go online to reference an encyclopedia or something. I mean, if you ask the smart thing, what was the name of the chief warrior in the invasion of Italy in 1000 BC? Well, you're not going to find that easily. You're going to have to go online to get the answer to that. There probably isn't one, actually, but I don't know what I'm talking about. But you get the idea. You get the idea. So, James, any thoughts on that? The ubiquity of being online with these things, really.
Oh, gracious. I don't see it changing anytime soon. I think the economy of scale just makes it difficult to. And the thing is, these industries thrive on the information they get from the service they provide. So,
of course, yeah.
They want you to have that sent up.
Well, also the Echo frames for the smart glasses and stuff seem to be pretty high price for the frames, and then of course you've got to bear in mind that many people buying this will have be wearing frames anyway, and they will still have to pay the cost of the lenses as opposed to the frames. So who knows? Keep an eye on it anyway, but I can't see it. It's really an asset for the phone generation. If you can wander around with a phone and have smart glasses linked to them, but ultimately all these things, if they're going to be wearable, they need to be light, put on and off when you need them, and they need to be controlled like Apple Watch from a smartphone or something, so that there's no it's awkward when you get things that become ubiquitous that are also tied to a monopoly.
Yeah, I do believe there are some smart home controllers open source that don't need to go to the web, but you're really on your own to make something like that work.
Yeah, very much. I love picking up things like, well, I'm getting less tactile these days in terms of making these things work, but I love doing that. But I mean, all I got to do is show to somebody and say, well, I'm not doing that. It's not simple. It's not, it's not off the shelf for me as a user. So, what some of us do for our own amusement is not necessarily what the mass of people are going to do. Anyway, moving on to this week in XR. And this is Charlie Fink again later in the week, of course, whenever it was Friday or something, at Forbes. And it's his regular roundup at the end of the week. AI co-pilots, Neuralink, human trials, and new Echo frames. He and a couple of other people have made a very good point. Sorry, not a good point at all. Have made a point of talking about this Neuralink business at the moment and the human trials that are coming up. But I also read in the week, and I don't have the link up handy, but rather horrifyingly, I forget, I think it was chimpanzees or something that were testing out the Neuralink. It killed them. And if you're trying out stuff, experimenting on animals is bad enough. But if this device, the Neuralink that is it belong to Musk? I don't know. If it's killing animals, why the hell are you going to move to trialing it on humans? The brains behind all this stuff these days seem to be gone. The brains of the bosses who don't know what the hell they're doing, I think. Anyway, the human trials, Charlie Fink is reporting on here, all the plans for them. That's the Neuralink graphic. It actually looks really 80s. It looks like something out of Lawnmower Man or something era, doesn't it?
Heavy metal.
The graphic was anyway. It's opening enrollment for its first human transplants, and sort of. I think I've been more inclined to. Look what's back there. I'll go for the wisdom of the monkeys. Not that they're around to give me their wisdom anymore, but who knows? We'll see. Anyway, that's if you go to Forbes.com, if you can get it, that's Charlie Fink's roundup. I do know that it is duplicated, a day or two later in other places. I'm not sure where, but Forbes, of course, is a paywall place, so sometimes you have problems. Okay, moving down to arinsider.co again. Their reality bites roundup at the end of the week from them. And brought to you by M7 Innovations. Well, those are the people we ran the video with a little bit earlier ago. TikTok partnering with Billboard as well. Dear me, everybody's partnering up all over the place. And okay, reality bites. Right, have I got a video for? I think maybe it's a video for that. I think that might just be an advertising page for reality bites. In which case we don't really need it. Moving on to xrtoday.com. Big news from Unity, Pixar VR, and Microsoft. Again, these are all end of the week roundups. I do tend to be sticking to other people's roundups these days a bit, because unless something specific for us comes along, these are probably the places I recommend for you catch up. You know, not everybody's got time to monitor RSS feeds and things, so these sites I'm including tend to be overall roundup sites that between them sort of manage to cover most things. Right, getting in deep in there, but that's XR news in general, and that is xrtoday.com. This site is called robots.net, robots.net, and interesting, but rather different sort of thing here. How is the metaverse different from Second Life? And obviously they're familiar with Second Life, and they're familiar with the fact that this M word has been all over the place recently. And so they're going back to the launch of Second Life and saying, you know, all this metaverse talk and the stuff that Zuckerberg is planning on, how is that actually different in any fundamental way from what Second Life already is? And I would tend to agree with that. Second Life is not the metaverse. It's got a cousin called OpenSim. But between the two of them, I think there's no question that there's no other metaverse possible. Yeah, well, we can pretend. We can wish, can't we? But I personally, Second Life's a big commercial for me, but its cousin OpenSim is where I don't live there, but, you know.
It's where we are today.
It's where I'm based. It's where I'm based, and it's where we're broadcasting from at the moment, complete with our funny little avatars with strange sunglasses and, believe it or not, lips that are moving. Don't know what's happened there. I hear that COVID might be coming back, so I might be in my mask again in a few weeks. But for the moment, you can see my lips moving. And I had a bit of a virtual makeover. It's like when I took the mask off, I realised that my face was looking a bit iffy. I mean, having had the mask on for a few years, you know, things like that happen. So I had a bit of a facial makeover too, just in case you were wondering. Indeed. Right, moving on down. This is a good article, and quite a nice read too. It's long. It's also interestingly been published by one of the other blogs this week who couldn't visit, who've translated it into German as well. Yeah, it's obviously a nice piece of. It's become syndicated, shall we say? So I'm not sure who Frankie Wellman is, but he or she. And again, you can't tell from Frankie, can you? He or she is doing quite a good job there. Okay, moving down to virtualrealityreporter.com, exploring the future of mixed reality headsets, pioneers in immersive technology. I like that graphic, actually. I copied it and I tried to use it for something, but I couldn't upload it. Anyway, naughty me. Right, today's ever-evolving digital landscape, the demand for extended reality, XR, virtual reality, VR, augmented reality, AR, mixed reality, MR is skyrocketing. We need a sound effect for skyrocketing, like a rocket taking over the...
Okay.
Next week.
Next week.
Next week. At the moment, I don't think I've got a sound for that. I haven't got a. I've got noises. I've got appalling, and I've got that. But you know that already, don't you? Right. Stop playing around, Mal, and get on with the show, will you? I think. Okay. Innovators. Starts with Microsoft, of course. Magic Leap, Lenovo. Actually, they are fairly good choices overall. Varjo, Packard, of course, Acer. These are, and Samsung. These are names that you find on Asus, another good one, on all your technologies. Dell, which I'm not very keen on Dell, but that's me. I've never heard of Beal. I don't think I have anyway. My memory's not that good these days. Anyway, no mention really of platforms there. They're just dealing with the hardware platforms rather than the spaces and places you might go. Right, okay, and that I think is it because September the 15th was the last Voices of VR, so nothing new this week. Plenty there to find if you want some in-depth podcast to listen to. voicesofvr.com for all that. Right, okay, so that's the end of that, and I'm quickly going to go to this is the at Meta World at Mastodon social feed. It gets relayed to the Twitter account while it's still working and stuff like that. So, but I didn't include them in the webpage links. So just the shows that have been online this week. Earlier today, we got the published version of the F Reality podcast, looking at Varjo, in fact, and Atom's Premax Crystal headset. Earlier before that, this is Twix, or as it's called now. I get confused. This is actually the Week in XR, which is Charlie Fink's post with the crew. This week it was featuring Michael Freeman, who is co-founder and CEO of Octrux. Before that, this is interesting. A couple of days ago, Virtual Worlds Education and Consortium, as part of their MOOCI thing, they had two events on the same day, and one was my friend Leah Lobo, who I'm hoping to get on to show at this the shopping shopping program she did, really. It was a miserable. They didn't film it properly at all. I don't know what was going on, and yet in the afternoon they did an interview here with James Wagner at Hamlet Or in Second Life, and it was perfectly well filmed. I mean, it's Avatar filming.
It's linked to the real life economy. In other words, you can sell virtual content and make a living from it.
So, I mean, in terms of presentation, how come they couldn't do that for Lear in the morning? I don't know. But anyway, enough of that. I will endeavour to be bringing you Lear's presentation in another form. Maybe on In World Review, but we'll see about that. Right. Before that, we had Between Realities. Would have been midweek, I guess. It's astonishing how long some of these have been going on. This is Series 7. Episode 17. I never invented any series for our shows, so I guess we're all all my shows are Series 1, episode 10,008 or something. I suppose it does patent number them in a way. Anyway, and before that, Wednesday now. I'll hand over to James for this. There was, of course, Big Screen Beyond review in the VR download, and of course the news that the legs have come. James.
Yeah, legs, I can take them or leave them, that's fine. But this was where I got my opinion about the immersed headset. And right. David Heaney he commented that the features they're having, I mean, they're features to rival the Apple headset. And there's just no way that he could see to deliver something for that low a price. And, the device doesn't exist yet. And so there's nothing to comment on about whether it's real, whether it's going to happen or not. It seems terribly ambitious.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the word, isn't it? Ambitious, because the product isn't there yet. So it's either what it says it would be, but it's no good, or it's actually very good, but it's going to cost quite a bit more. Yeah. I mean,
but in the thumbnail there, they've got the Big Screen Beyond headset, and Ian Hamilton on the left did a really candid review of it, and he really didn't pull any punches. And it was interesting because in the audience was the Big Screen Beyond representative. And so, they were kind of defending, well, we made this choice because of this.
Yeah, isn't it embarrassing when you're live on air and you see somebody in the audience and say, oops, I'm sorry, mate, I didn't mean to say that, really.
Oh, they knew they were going to be there. They already knew that they'd be in the audience.
Yeah, but it can be funny.
Yep.
Yeah, good point. I mean that I mean the thing that is also was news a couple of weeks ago in this thing is that the Apple Mega thingy $5,000 Pro thingy is called Pro because they are working on a much more economical, accessible thing. So, um, you know, the degree to which they can obviously the Pro one, it's like the iPad Pro, it's got lots more in it compared with the regular iPad. If they can come out with something a bit more economical that still contains all the major advantage of the Vision, yeah, then maybe a competitor can too. But as you say, when you look at the starting price of $500, I think what's missing in these specs? You know, there's something missing in these specs. Oh,
Right.
I know what it is. Glasses themselves. You have to buy the glasses separately. The Phantom specs are there, ready to be put in an
Yeah.
additional
Yeah.
$1,000.
It's
Never
just
mind.
it's just the nature of the industry, so it's not
It
that
is, yeah.
surprising. Yep.
Okay, and before that, oh, there are quite a lot this week actually. On Wednesday again, Impact Reality podcast. They were looking at VR workouts and things, so that was kind of a worthy view. And on Tuesday, artillery briefs. This is regular, but they don't. You know, they cover a lot of different things. AR artillery is for augmented reality, so it's tangential to our field. But this is a roundup of VR usage and consumer attitudes, which was quite interesting. It's also very short, and what was it? It's under 5 minutes, so it's just a quick kind of roundup there. No time to play it for you, and neither should be really. And beginning of the week, on Tuesday at least, another edition of the VR Crewcast. This is the one where everybody joins together for a massive sort of cast, except it's not everybody, it's just quite a few people. We've got the guys from. Can we get rid of the. There we are. You got the guys from Mixed Realities and various people from other podcasts. There's some Between Realities guys, I should say. I forget who the half the others are, but it's quite interesting because you know it's a wide-ranging conversation. When you've got that many people in the conversation who've each got their own slant on their own podcast, then you know bring them all together makes it it's a variety show of virtual podcasters. Put it that way. Is that a good description? A variety show of virtual podcasters.
Oh, I'll go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so that actually completes that department too, so to speak. So I think we are at the end of everything. Indeed, and maybe not the end of the world, but the end of everything as far as this episode of MBTV News is concerned. I wish I could find something to take us out with, but I quite literally don't even have a speck of anything lined up here at all. What a shame, eh? James, any thoughts on the barrage of information we have just been?
No, but I MetaConnect is happening, I believe, this week, and so they're another part of the VR Download podcast was that they're looking forward to their analysis and the news that comes out of that. So we'll see what that corporation is doing. It'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah. You just can't get away from MetaConnect, can we?
Nope. Nope.
Or Meta, I should say. But yes, I mean, do you know my attitude to that God Emperor Zuckerberg? It's well, I'm making comparisons with this musketeer. I mean, you know, it's the you know, which man-child is more preferable? And it sure ain't the musketeer. Although, oddly enough, I mean, you know, the advantage to the musketeer is that the total incompetence of what's happening, he may end up destroying so much that we end up with a slightly more balanced, cleaner world. If all his projects blow up, or better still, if he takes off from Mars and doesn't come back, you know, then maybe, you know, who needed Twitter anyway?
That's what I said, but
The trouble is,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
I've
not
been using
connected.
it.
Right,
I've been using it for nearly 20 years. I was a
right, right.
beta tester. Of course, the guy who I was beta testing with on Twitter, of course, I forget his name now, but he's now launched a new, won't say competitor, for something very similar called Blue Sky, which is reaping them in at a leisurely, it's gaining traction probably at the same rate the original Twitter did. So it's still got a long way to go to have competing users, but it seems to be the Mastodon, the Fediverse stuff is another avenue. But Blue Sky, I suspect, will be the natural successor to Twitter simply because it's actually been launched by the original Twitter people. And I don't mean the Twitter before Musk. I mean the really original Twitter. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, well, with that, I think we can go. We actually do have another program coming up on this channel in about half an hour's time. It's called the In World Review. And this looks at art and destinations inside the OpenSim platform on the hypergrid, which connects all the grids together. And today, well, it's a lady from Neverworld Grid, and we're looking at the museum. It was recent. They had a big recent celebration for Jerry Garcia's birthday. He's the lead figure from the old Grateful Dead, no longer with us sadly. But they have a whole tribute built to Jerry Garcia, both the musician and the artist. A lot of people forget he was an artist too. So we'll be looking at that with a guest there, and that's in about half an hour's time. So if you like that sort of thing, Avatar broadcast and whatever, do stick around for that. Meanwhile, nothing else from James, I guess.
Nope, I'm good.
No?
Nope.
Nothing else from me. So no, I'm good too. So what do? We get out of here. hope we've been useful for you this week, and we will be returning same place. Same time, same place next week. Unless something goes seriously wrong with life, the universe, and everything, we will be here. So for now, we'll say goodbye, and it's a wrap. Woohoo! Like that one. Like that one.